and they fought with the Fomorians. And in one of these battles, the king of the Tuatha the fairies, lost his arm. And now the Tuatha were something of a vain people. They valued beauty above everything else. And any kind of blemish, especially in your king, was unacceptable to them. And missing an arm to them was a wee bit of a blemish. So they asked him to step down. And they searched far and wide across the land of Ireland in search of a new king. When they found him, Bress the Beautiful. Well, it's right there in the name in it. What kind of man he was, with the gleaming muscles and the nice long flowing hair and the heroic posture and the women fainting as he walked by. That was the sort of man he was. Yes.
So they found Legolas?
No. Legolas is a twig. This was a Tuatha and he was. Whoosh. Yes. They were all like that, but he was particularly. Now, the problem with him as a king was he was half Fomorian, half demon. Now, halves tend to show in different ways, and it showed on his inside, not his outside. When they made him king, he immediately revealed himself to be that half Fomorian. He began taxing the people heavily, not letting them sing, not letting them play, not letting them take breaks. He worked the country nearly to death. He was a terrible king. But not everybody knew. All across the land, they knew that bad things were happening. And one of the people who didn't know was the chief storyteller, in fact, of Ireland. He had yet to meet the king in person, but he loved meeting kings. He had to introduce to himself to each new one, because he knew, the kings knew, how important storytellers were. So they would always receive the best wine, the best food, the best women that the court had to offer. And so he went to the king's castle, to the king's grand and mighty palace. And when he arrived there, he looked at the guard, and with his best posture, he said, "I'm here." Yeah, and let the king know. Right, gotcha. And the guard scurried away. And he scurried back and he says, well, you see, the king's a bit busy, so I'll show you to your rooms, and then you can play for him in the morning. Well, I know where my rooms are. The second largest ones, right beside the king's. There's been a bit of a change. And so he led the chief storyteller all the way across the courtyard, down into this deep, dark, dank passageway, into this tiny little room. And when he opened the door, there was only a little straw bed, a little bit of dry, crusty, moldy bread, and a dirty cup of water. Now, before the storyteller could complain, the guard vamoosed out of there, left, leaving the storyteller with his accommodations. Now, he couldn't sit on that bed, he couldn't drink that water, he couldn't eat that bread. So, all through the night, he just paced. It was a tiny room. And all through the night, he paced and he paced and he paced. And the rage roiled and it boiled inside him like a great black storm cloud. Excuse me. Until finally one morning came. He didn't stop to wait for the guard. He just left his rooms. And he walked all the way up the dark, dank, deep passageway, up, out into the courtyards. And he told a story, a satire, a satirical story about King Bress and his hospitality. And the words flew like blackbirds from his mouth, up into the air and down into the ears of the people. And when they heard these stories, they laughed and laughed and laughed. For the stories were all true. The stories were all true of how wonderful a guest, a host, King Bress was. And the laughter got to be so loud all across Ireland that Bress himself woke up. He woke up and he heard the story, and he heard the words, and the words were so cutting and so deep and so true about him that he was forced to step down as king. And that is why you never, ever, ever make a storyteller angry. All right, so this last bit I'm going to leave open for questions about my storytelling, my playing, my singing, general questions about Ireland and other storytelling traditions. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask?